I welcome everyone to this program today. I'm very sorry we had some technical issues when we started, but now they have been sorted out and we can start now. So without wasting much of our time, I think I'm going to bring in the moderator of this program. We scheduled this to help some of our Nigerians and other people from other places to know what to do. Many people are planning to travel, and as a matter of fact, why we are doing this is to actually train people who will train others, because we believe that when we are able to help you at this point, by this time next year, some of you will be here and you'll be able to do for others. And this is what we call succession plan when we come to human resources. When somebody trains you, you try to train another person. So we welcome all of you to this session, and we have a lot of people. I'm going to bring in the moderator of this program. So Linda, you have the floor right now. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Please, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. You all are welcome to the webinar on admission and scholarship application process. My name is Linda, and we have 6 speakers for this webinar, of which they'll be speaking on different scholarship application process. By introduction, we have Mr. Goodluck, who will be talking about the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. We also have Linda. I'll be speaking about the CSC Scholarship. We have Mr. Francis. He'll be talking about the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. We have Miss Isabel. She'll be talking about the Chevening Scholarship. We have Miss Ogona. She'll be talking about the Chevening Scholarship. We also have Mr. Stan. He'll be talking about the NIU Scholarship in the US. Please, I would encourage you all to get your pen and pencil or paper close to you, because there'll be lots of educative information of which we all will learn from today. So please do well to make good use of the chat, because I will be active at the chat panel in order to address questions as the presentation are ongoing. Thank you for your kind attention, and please remain muted so that we all can have a smooth webinar. So good luck, you have the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, beautiful. So, sincere apologies for the time that has been wasted so far due to technical glitches from our end, and we're also very much happy that you're here to join us. So I'll just quickly share my screen, and then hopefully we get to learn 1 or 2 things. So let's see how we go about this. Okay, so this is where we start. Everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see your
beautiful
screen.
Beautiful. Yeah. So this is where we start, and I've been introduced. My name is Goodluck, but you can also call me Chibike. I'm currently participating in the Erasmus program, and within the next couple of minutes, I would like to take you through some of the important things or ideas, or should I say positions, you should take to get yourself to actually receive this beautiful study opportunity, and then go on to make the best out of your life, and of course your studies as well. So where do you start? Is always necessary to start from a historical perspective, and by that I mean, how did this scholarship come about? What are the goals? What are the objectives? Just a background about the scope of the scholarships help you to actually figure out what best to do, and the contents or even the source of the things that you need to really put into your application. So the Erasmus program was founded from the European Union, so to say. A couple of member countries came together, and they were like, how do we really address the problem of lifelong learning and then internationalization of education, and then trying to sell some of the ideologies, and then actually sell the Europeanization agenda. And that was how the Erasmus Mundus program was born. And this scholarship is graciously funded by the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. And it takes basically most of the funding from the travel allowances down to the participation cost and a whole of other stuff basically. So where do you begin? Like I pointed out, you begin by studying some relevant documents. And here I've attached some links, which I'll be sharing at the chat later on. So in my case, what helped me really was the Erasmus Mundus handbook. From the Nigerian context, we have this network of Erasmus Mundus scholars, previous recipients, and they came together and then put out this beautiful handbook, which is hosted on Facebook. And of course, each time you get to Facebook and you're able to follow up with the team and admin there, you would find the page really insightful. So it's their link down here. And then here again, we have Erasmus catalog, which gives you an overview of all the programs that are offered on the Erasmus program. So about the program, like I mentioned earlier, is hosted by EU member states. And as a scholar, you'll be opportunity to go through at least 3 countries, basically, because from the experience, what you normally do is to change universities. Like you go across partner universities for each semester, and then it runs for 2 years, and basically within that 2 years you are getting a whole lot of experiences. And then what kind of degree is being offered is usually 2 types of degree. You can end up with a joint degree, which could be something like a joint degree is just basically a university that is a degree that is offered, a degree certificate that is offered between 2 universities. Say for example, you can have a University of Osnabrück and then let's say Tampere University coming together to award you a degree certificate, a certificate in say bioinformatics or something. And then in another instance, you can get double degrees. In the same instance, you have 2 different universities, but they're awarding you 2 different degrees. So that's the nature of the kind of degrees you get within the 2 years of study. So if you visit the Erasmus scholarship page, I would like to refer you to the Erasmus Mundus catalog. So in the catalog, you see the various list of programs. And then if you watch carefully, there are 2 links. The first one here takes you to the broader overview of the program. And then the smaller link takes you to the consortium. The consortium is a kind of organization of the partner universities. They come together and they form a team, and that team manages the admission process, so to say. It's also pertinent for you to understand that a single application usually affords you the scholarship and then the admission process. So in most cases, once you've made the first application, it's just upgraded or promoted for admission process or for scholarship process in either case. So what do you need as general requirements? You will need your degree certificates, you will need your transcripts, you will need to have an Europa CV, you will need recommendation letters, English proficiency, a proof of residence, letter of motivation, and SOPs. And then you need to write some essay responding to some specific questions. And of course, your international passport is very important. I may need to dive deep on explaining some background in with respect to some of these points I've made, but that may come in later during the question and answer section just to save us time. So, but just a few pointers. What you need to do, you have to have this special approach to writing your essays. Don't just write something that is generic. Like do something special that makes you outstanding. Sell your skills, project yourself image. But as much as you want to really project yourself, do not lie about what you can really do. Do not lie about your perspectives. But however, project yourself as someone that has potential, as someone that shows social impact, constructs, and is able to really do a whole lot of more. So write very well, and I think that's where I'll end on my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We need to move to the next speaker. Please, can you see my screen?
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Chevening Scholarship, and I'll be talking about the CSC Scholarship. It's important to know that the CSC Scholarship is being sponsored by the Chinese government, and this scholarship is mainly to aid the exchange of education between China and other countries. If you want to know about the CSC Scholarship, I would encourage you to use this website. You could go through this website in order to know more about the scholarship. And if you want to know more about the application, you can also make good use of this website on my screen. In order to know if you're eligible for the CSC Scholarship, there are some checklists, which are if you are a citizen of the Republic of China, you are not eligible for CSC Scholarship. Your academic record should be very outstanding, and there are age limits for different kind of degree of which you could apply to in CSC. And if you are applying for a course to be taught in Chinese, you're required to have a level of HSK. And also you have to meet all the criteria like the English proficiency if you would want to have an English instruction course. There are different types of the CSC Scholarship. We have the type A, the type B, and the type C. So what differentiates them is that for the type A, you have to apply through the Chinese embassy in your country. In Nigeria, the Chinese embassy is in Lagos and also in Abuja. So if you want to apply, you would have to go to those places, get the form, fill, and go through the process, like interview and the rest of them. But if you want to apply to the type B, you could apply directly to CSC, just applying to the university, and you go directly without going through the embassy. So this is more like a direct application. So for the type C, if you want to apply for this, it's mostly a private kind of scholarship. So the application documents which are required are, you first of all have to get your international passport. I think this cuts across all forms of application, be it CSC or any other application which you would want to embark on. You also need a passport photograph. So there are some countries that have specific size of photograph, of which if you bring a photograph which is not what they want, automatically you just got yourself rejected. For the transcript and certificates, you have to notarize them. You could go to a notary certified lawyer. That is more authentic. Other documents are study plan. In China, unlike in other places, which you just have to write study plan like, oh, I'm going to go back to my country to do this after some certain years of study and the rest of them. In China, the study plan is different. Study plan, they want to see your experimental plan, the methodology, what technology are you bringing in, what are the skills you already have. That is what, like, it's more like saying a proposal. That's what a study plan is to Chinese universities, most of them, especially their top-ranked universities. For the English proficiency, like for myself, I'm from Nigeria. English is my first language, so I don't have to present IELTS or TOEFL when applying to China, when applying for the CSC Scholarship. But if you're from a country whereby French is your first language, or maybe other languages aside from English, then you will be asked to present an IELTS result or a TOEFL result. In a situation whereby you are from an English-speaking country like Nigeria, and the university you're applying for still insists that you have to present a TOEFL or IELTS result, I encourage you to just get a certificate to show that you were taught in English and that was your language of instruction throughout your undergraduate study. That could stand for the IELTS and TOEFL. This also applies to other scholarships aside from China application. In China, you need a physical foreign examination form, which you have to fill, and you also have to submit some relevant results. And also you need a recommendation letter. So for the recommendation letter, if you're applying for CSC, you just need 2, but your university application might require 3. So you might have to think of 3 instead of 2. Other supporting documents which you could use to back up your application are acceptance letter, which you get from the professor or prospective supervisor, valid certificate of non-criminal record. You could get this from police station, especially headquarters in Nigeria. If you have academic publications in good journals, that would also help to strengthen your application. For those of you who already have award certificates, be it any form of award, maybe sports award, maybe outstanding award, maybe best dress, anything at all. Someone going for an arts course, if you have a dressing award, a fashion award, that would also sell you. So it mustn't be so serious, you know. So, but if you have educational kind of award, please keep the certificate. Don't just dump it at the site where the award is given to you. I've had a lot of stories of I was given a certificate at the end of my study and I left it at the dinner site or something happened. Please keep those certificates. They are useful and they are helpful, okay? For the participation form of certificates for people who attend webinars, workshops, and conferences, please keep whatever certificate is given to you. These things can help, especially when you don't have academic publication. You can use them to boost your application. Professional certificates. For those of you who enroll for some courses, like myself, during NYIC, I had a chance of applying for lots of professional certifications. So if you're given any certificate after the professional study, do well to keep the certificate. It will be helpful. In order to apply for the CSC scholarship, these are the procedures for the application. So the first step you have to do is you have to select what university you want to go to. So you have to look for universities that are CSC affiliated. Not all universities in China are affiliated to CSC, but majority, I can tell you, more than half of them are affiliated to CSC. So you just have to look for what university is affiliated to CSC and which of them have the program of interest of which you would want to study. To do this, you could check some social media platform. You could also ask from friends. You could ask from your professor in schools and teachers, or you could check through the official website, or you could go online and browse. After knowing the universities you would like to apply to, you need to contact a professor. So the target of contacting a professor is getting an acceptance letter. This should be your end goal while contacting the professor, a professor that will give you an acceptance letter. Contacting a professor, what are the medium to use? You could go by mailing them, you could go by calling them online, and you could go by trying to connect with them on different social media platforms. After that, then you move forward to filling the physical examination record for foreigners. You have to get this form signed and stamped. You also need to ensure that you get some hard copies of the test which you had conducted and some required reports, like syphilis, like HIV report, like blood group and blood type kind of report. Ensure you have the hard copy. Some persons have over time asked me, what hospital should we go for to fill this report? Please, I would encourage you to use the state or federal hospital. You can move forward to filling the online application for CSC. So you have to fill the form. That's the link. You submit all documents required. You download, print, and sign. This is the online application procedure. First of all, when you log on, you have to create a personal profile. When you create your personal profile, the page that would open for you, you would see an icon like a menu bar. We know this normal menu like a box with 3 slashes or something like that. So you click on it and then you see application online. So when you click that, you choose what scholarship type you would want to go for, as I had explained earlier. Whether you want the type A or you want the type B or you want the type C. I think type B is more easier because you are the one making the application yourself, and nobody is determining if you'll be qualified for the application. Type B is just straightforward. So you'll be asked to fill the agency number for the proposed Chinese university you're intending to join. So after that, you have to fill your personal information. Then you fill your education and employment history. Please, while filling this, ensure that the date correlates with that in your CV. ensure that you fill in the necessary gaps. If you're out from school, let me say in 2012, and you just want to join a university in 2023, please, something must have been happening between those years. So please, utilize filling the education and employment history well. So you have to fill in your English proficiency or Chinese proficiency. For some persons who would select courses that will be taught in Chinese, if you don't have a good background in Chinese, you might be asked to have some Chinese courses for maybe 1 year before you can embark on the course you actually registered for. You might be encouraged to, first of all, enroll for the Chinese course. So you have to fill in your study plan. So you fill all the contact details, then you upload the required documents and supporting documents as well. Is this all? No, not over. After you had submitted the CSC application, you move forward to the university application. When you get to the stage, it varies. It's not the same for all universities. There are universities that require that you submit the CSC application document and also fill their application online and submit both of them online. But there are universities that will tell you to print out the application form from their university website and then you submit through Korea as well as the CSC application. So nevertheless, please always ensure to check your email regularly to be sure if you have interview, exam, or both. After this process, you get your admission and scholarship notice, then you start preparing for visa application. Why do we care about coming to China or maybe embarking on the scholarship? There must be benefits, right? Yeah, so these are some of the benefits. It's tuition free, like fully funded scholarship. So on top of it, you'll be paid for schooling. These are the monthly stipend being paid to CSC students. So you have free accommodation in the campus, and your free accommodation also covers your utility bill. You don't have to pay that for most schools. So you also have a comprehensive medical insurance. Important tips are, please start your application now. Don't wait till later, start now. Also, some universities require you to pay application fee. So please take note of this, not after taking the stress of contacting the professors and filling the application and the rest of them. When it gets to paying application fee, most of the time is the last thing to do. Then you realize that you don't have the amount of money being required of you or something like that. It's almost like time wasted all through, Yeah. So the CSC scholarship is highly competitive because people know that they have higher quota for international students compared to so many other scholarships. So please try to apply timely and also know that the quota for international students, depending on country, keep reducing yearly. The cost of living in some cities in China is more expensive compared to others. So even if you'll be receiving the same allowance or stipend, know that some persons will be able to save more than the others. CSC application usually starts by October, but the university application start date and deadline varies. Most importantly, I would advise that as you go through the journey of applying, please also pray and work. I just don't preach, pray. I preach, pray and work because God's grace is sufficient for every one of us. Okay. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you. Moving to the next speaker, we have Miss Isabel. She'll be talking about the Chevening Scholarship. You have the floor. Thank you.
Oh, okay, sure. My name is Isabel, and I'm doing cancer biology and therapeutics at Cardiff University. So I'll be speaking on the Chevening Scholarship application. There are like two sections to this. I'll be talking about the application in general, and then my colleague would talk about the essays particularly. So unlike other scholarships out there, Chevening application is quite straightforward. Okay, so you simply have to check the Chevening's website, www.chevening.org, and then there's a place to just start your application. So yeah, like I said, I don't have a screen to share. I'll just explain the basic parts of the application process so that when you start eventually, you'll be able to follow through on it without so much troubles. So before you start, there are some documents you should have handy: your degree certificate, your transcripts, letter of recommendation, an international passport, or any other official ID. If you have these, then you're good to go. Then for your school applications, you'll be needing a statement of purpose, English proficiency tests, depending on the school you're applying to, a professional CV, also dependent on the school you're applying to, and then a letter of recommendation. Please bear in mind that the Chevening application deadline for this year is 1st of November. So that's like in 2 weeks away. So if you want to apply for Chevening, then you should begin to get your things together if you've not started. I believe a handful of us have, but for those of us who haven't, this would actually be much of help to you. So there are 5 sections of a Chevening application, a Chevening scholarship application. There's the background section, essay questions, application information, terms and condition, and then a section for uploads. So I'm just going to run through what you expect in every of the sessions that you would meet. So the background section includes personal details, your name, your sex, where you live, just basic stuff like that. It also allows you to select a preferred interview location, contact details, education details. Also bear in mind that the minimum requirement for a Chevening scholarship is a 2.2 degree from accredited universities in your country. So you should also have work experience, and that's very particular to Chevening. At least you should have 2 years work experience, because you're going to fill that in during your application. And when we say work experience, over time, people get to shy away from the application because they say, oh, I don't have work experience until I'm an undergraduate, things like that. But here, when we talk about work experience, or when Chevening says work experience, it includes paid or unpaid internships, self-employment, freelancing, full-time, part-time, voluntary opportunities. Like it's encompassing. Okay, so just look for something. For those of us who schooled in Nigeria, maybe at some point you did your IT. Your IT, you can add that to your work experience. If you've undergone the mandatory service year, you can also add that. So just look for lots of opportunities and gather them together. Make sure it's at least 2 years. Yeah. And then you should not enter more than 15 work experiences for your application. So the next part is the essay questions. So for the essays, you'll be asked to answer a series of short essay questions on 4 key areas: leadership and influence, relationship building and shared learning, studying in the UK, and then your career goals. So there's a section dedicated to that, and I will not delve into it, but then just bear that in mind. Going further, the 3rd section is the application information. So this part is particularly important because you have to select 3 universities to apply to. And unlike the Erasmus Mundus program that Chivike had spoken about earlier, an application for a Chevening scholarship does not automatically cover your application to a university. So what that means is you have to, first of all, you have to apply to Chevening and also apply to your choice universities. So Chevening allows you to apply to 3 different universities. So it means you have to apply to these 3 different schools, and it's entirely up to you to select whatever school you want, provided that those schools are partners with Chevening. And then you also get to select your courses as well. So your choices could be in any of this form. 3 different courses at the same university with similar course titles. 3 different universities or 3 different courses with similar course titles at 3 different universities. Or 3 courses at 3 different universities, all with the same course title. So it's left for you. Let me use my application as an example. So I applied to like 3 similar courses at 3 different universities. So just do what works for you, okay? There's a course finder link on the Chevening application that allows you to check for your course of interest and then look at the schools that are offering such courses, look at their course modules. If it's something that interests you and you meet the eligibility criteria, then so yeah, and then still on that application information, you get to feel just you get to answer questions about your immigration status, like have you lived in the UK before, things like that, just very basic questions that you can answer without help. The next part is terms and conditions. So you have to accept that you would attend mandatory Chevening events held in the UK, that you would remain in the UK during the period of your award, you abide to Chevening's social media and messaging policies, just basic stuff. Yes, I must add, Chevening is not a JAPA scholarship. For those of you that want to JAPA, you must accept to come back to your home country at the end of your program. It's particularly important that we state this because I know some of us on this space want to JAPA. Chevening will not allow you JAPA. Once you finish, please carry your bag and start coming back home. Don't cause problem for the other people, please. It's very important anyway. Because although I didn't do a background introduction about Chevening, but Chevening is one of the UK's fully funded scholarship, okay, that is aimed to raise. We want you to go back home and implement what you've learned over the last 1 year of your master's program to make your community, your country, or as the case may be, better. So please bear that in mind. Then the last part of the application is uploads. So you'll be required to answer questions bordering on equal opportunities. If you feel like you're part of maybe a minority group in your country, you can get to just answer that, And then it's on that section as well that you get to upload your documents. So you can either upload your degree certificate if you have it, or your transcripts. Those are the accepted documents to prove your education history. Then there is the part to upload a conditional offer or an unconditional offer. It's basically what we call acceptance letter in Nigeria. I don't know where you're joining from, but in Nigeria, it's what you call acceptance letter. So some schools in the UK would give you a conditional offer of admission, ask you to provide some other documents. Some others will just go straight to give you an unconditional offer. So if you have a conditional or an unconditional offer for your proposed course of study, this is important. You should not be worried about the admission at this point, because I've heard people ask things like, I don't have admission yet. It's not a problem. 2023 admission would it will most likely start next year, maybe around January. So you've still got time. What you should be bothered about now is making your applications and writing an outstanding essay. So, and then that's the part also where you get to upload your passports or your ID documents. I know that some of us don't have passports, and there are lots of hitches right now in Nigeria with getting passports. So if you have any other official ID documents, you can upload it. But bear in mind that if you get invited for the interview, you need to come with a passport. That's what you use to prove your identity and all of that. So there are key deadlines you should bear in mind while making your Chevening application. The first is of course, the Chevening Scholarship deadline, which is 1st November 2022. It's like 2 weeks away, about 15 days away. And then there is the deadline of 21st February 2023. So let's say you don't have your transcripts or your degree certificate, something to prove your educational history. You can submit your application without those, but please ensure that you get these documents before 21st February 2023 and upload them. Okay? And then there's also the deadline of 13th July 2023. That deadline applies to getting an unconditional offer. So, of course, you cannot get the admission or you cannot get the scholarship and not have where to take the scholarship up. So, Chevening gives you a lot of time to get admission, and that's why the deadline is further off, 13th July. In all your gettings, get admission before 13th July and upload that unconditional offer letter, and you'll be well on your way. So on the application form, there's a big red button just at the bottom of the page. It reads submit. So every time you upload anything or you make any adjustment to your application, you just have to click on submit. There are two options. There's a drop down arrow. So you need to select save draft. If you save draft, it means that you still come back to this application. Okay, it's just a way of refreshing the page and updating your application. Where you feel that you're comfortable with all you've done, all you've written, and you have a good application. You've written your essays, you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's, then you can click submit to Chevening. Please don't click submit to Chevening when you know you're not ready to submit to Chevening, because once you submit, there's nothing you can do about that application. That also applies to documents. Any documents, that modification was made this year. So any documents you upload to Chevening, you cannot delete it. So be sure you check out your documents before you upload them. But yeah, if you make mistakes in your entries, you can always click the delete button at the side and then make another entry. But that does not apply to documents that are uploaded. So as soon as you're done with your Chevening application, please proceed to the universities of your choice and start your application. Ensure that the schools you're applying to are schools that will take you for admission. Check their eligibility criteria. Be sure that you meet them so that you do not apply to schools that at the end of the day will not give you admission. And of course, the 3 schools you're going to settle for eventually, you'd have to add them to your application. You have to list them as well as the courses you're going for. So you would not have the opportunity to change those on the long run, except God helping you, you get to the interview stage. At the interview, you're allowed to make changes if you want. But if you don't, then you cannot change them. So check all of these things before you choose your schools of interest. And with that, you'd be just good to go. I think that's the basic thing about Chevening. So like I said, it's a straightforward application. Just go to www.chevening.org, create a profile, and start your application. Use the course finder or postgraduates.com. I'll drop links in the chat session anyway. Use the postgraduates.com or course finder to look for eligible courses, and then you apply. Finally, there's a fee cap on MBA programs. So if you want to do an MBA, there's a fee cap of £22,000. So if your school fees is above £22,000, what that means is Chevening will pay £22,000 and then you get to pay the rest. But that does not apply to other programs. My program is my tuition fee is over £23,000 and Chevening is paying. But if it's an MBA, the fee cap is £22,000. So I think that should be it about a Chevening Scholarship application. You get to hear about the essays. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Ugonna, you have the floor.
Hello everyone. Hope I'm audible and my screen is visible.
You are very audible and your screen is showing clearly.
Thank you. So my name is Ugonna. I'm a 2021 Chevening Scholar for University of Stirling for MSc Artificial Intelligence. So today I'm going to be talking about the Chevening essays, which is a very extremely extra important part of the Chevening application. So we're just going to have like a brief introduction, then we'll go over the 4 essays and of course a summary. So as way of introduction, I think it's important that if you're applying for Chevening, that you ask yourself, who is Chevening looking for? Who exactly are they looking out to give the Chevening Scholarship to? And the thing is that on their website, when they describe who Cheveners are, they add this phrase here: they all demonstrate the passion, vision, and skills needed to shape a better world. So that is the type of person or the group of people that they're looking at. So when you're writing your essay, it's important that as you're writing it, you're asking yourself, if somebody reads this, will they think of me as somebody who demonstrates the passion, vision, and has the skills needed, or would have the skills needed to shape a better world? And then there are 2 questions that I think you should always bear in mind when you're writing the 4 essays. What impact have you made to your environment, to your country, to the state you live in, to your society at large? And then what are your life goals and how will it impact your country? Because like Isabel mentioned, the whole point of the Chevening Scholarship is that the UK government instituted it as a way to groom leaders in different countries around the world. So they need to know that them training you, them grooming you is going to impact your country at the end of the day. So no matter what dreams you have or what plans you have, you need to be able to show that it's actually going to make a difference, that them giving you the Chevening Scholarship and all the prestige that comes with it is going to somehow impact your country. So let's look at the first essay. So the prompt, went forward a bit there. The prompt for that essay reads, Chevening is looking for individuals who will be future leaders or influencers in their home countries. Explain how you meet this requirement using clear examples of your own leadership and influencing skills to support your answer. So I tried to group this the essays into 2 parts: things you should avoid doing in your essay and things you should definitely try to do. So I've reviewed a couple of essays and I can tell you some of the things that I've seen. And also if you go on the Chevening website, they actually do give out tips based on essays that they rejected and the ones that they ended up accepting. So this is just a summary from all of that. Things you should avoid doing: avoid dwelling on definition of leadership or some of these elaborate quotes about leadership, like a reader is a leader, all those kind of quotes. Try to don't dwell on them so much. Don't make your entire essay to be about them. Chevening already knows all these things. They already know that Maxwell said this or that. They already know, okay, you think that a leader should be somebody who is forward thinking and it should be this and should be that. They've read it all. There's over, I don't know how many, but last year when I applied, there were over 8,000 applications from Nigeria alone. So there's a whole lot of people probably writing the same things or the same definitions that you are. Then you need to avoid just listing out leadership position. You know, say I was president of that club, I founded this, I was in this position, I was in that position. When they talk about leadership, it's not just about position. It's mostly about impact. What did you do, So it's not just by you listing out those positions. I've seen cases where somebody spent an entire paragraph listing out, all the things, all the positions that they hold, without actually explaining how those positions, impacted other people, or what role they had, or that what they're able to contribute using that position that they have. And then try to avoid focusing on what the team achieved. Why it's important? It's important to be able to say, okay, I was, maybe I was leading this team, and as a whole, we were able to eradicate hunger in my village. But you need to be able to explain what you as an individual achieved, or what you were able to do. What was your contribution in that team? Were you just there answering the leader? Or were you the one who maybe spearheaded the planning? Or were you the one who did something as simple as the organizing, maybe the logistics, or, reaching out, communications, or being like a liaison officer? What exactly did you do? What was your role? So the things you definitely should do, you need to elaborate on examples where you demonstrated leadership traits. Now, if you remember what I said in the things you should avoid, just listing out leadership positions with no clear impact. So here, you now need to talk about look at some of those examples of the things that the times you've exhibited leadership traits. What was the position? It doesn't have to be because you were given a position as maybe president. You could have been a floor member, but something came up and you took the initiative and decided to, step up and step out and, take charge. Use recent examples. Don't give an example of when you were in primary school or in high school, a faraway example. Remember that they expect that to some extent you should have had work experience, which means they're expecting you shouldn't have, finished your undergrad like very recently. But if you just finish your undergrad, that's fine. Then obviously they would expect you to be giving examples mostly related with when you were in school or when you were an undergrad, yeah. But if you had finished your undergrad like a while ago, then they would also expect some examples from when maybe you were working or after your undergrad, yeah. So try to use recent examples. Don't go and bring the example from nursery school, and that's when when I was class prefect, and there was a problem and I settled the problem, and that's the type of example you're bringing. So that's like a faraway example. So try to use recent examples, elaborate on them. There's something they call the STAR approach, where you talk about the situation, you talk about the task. So what was the situation on ground? What did you have to do? That's the task you have to achieve. And then A is what were you able to, what was the action you took? And then R is the result. What was the result at the end of the day? So try to explain situations using the STAR approach. So try to make sure that you're able to show clearly what you did. Also talk about impact. Remember, they're looking for leaders. They're looking for people that by training you, they're making sure that training is going to circulate to other people. So how did your role impact other people? And how do so you need to be able to show it in numbers. If you're not sure of the number, give an estimate. Was it over 1,000, over 10,000 people, over 15,000 people? Talk about the numbers. Very important. Remember, leadership is not about position. I already mentioned that. Try to highlight your roles and your contribution. Don't just give like what's it called? Don't just give vague positions and just say, okay, I was the president and as a team we were able to do this. No, talk about yourself. What was the achievement, or what was your position, and what was the things that you did using that position that you had. Then the next essay is on networking. So the prompt for this essay is, Chevening is looking for individuals with strong professional relationship building skills who will engage with the Chevening community and influence and lead others in their chosen profession. Please explain how you build and you maintain relationship in a professional capacity, using clear examples of how you currently do this and outline how you hope to use the skills in the future. So things you should definitely avoid is avoiding explaining how you just met people or how you're a part of an organization and there's no real impact. And you're like, oh, so I went for this dinner and I was able to meet I want to say the president, but I don't know if people will actually write that. But and I was able to meet, somebody of great influence. Maybe I was able to meet Barack Obama at the event, and we even shook hands, and it was amazing. But then what happened next? So what happened? Did you maintain that relationship? Did you maybe get their contact? Did you then grow from there? Did you make, what was the impact of you getting that relationship? Did you then join them in their outreach, maybe to go and eradicate, I don't know, cancer in some part of the world or something like that? How did that relationship make impact? That's what they want to see. That's what they want to hear. So the do's, you should definitely show how your relationship or your networks have helped you make impact. So don't just say, I am part of this organization or this network or that network or the other network, and you make an entire list of all the places that you're part of. But then they're going to ask, okay, so you're part of all these places, and then what? Did it help your career grow? Did it help you to achieve some of your life goals? So remember, I said at the beginning that you should always have in mind, or bear in mind, your life goals. So you should try to always ask yourself, how does, so now this network or these relationships that I'm talking about, how did it help me in, moving a step further towards achieving my life goals? Then you need to highlight how you're going to use the Chevening network, and even the network during your 1 year here in the UK. So you need to ask yourself, okay, so if I get the scholarship, what's the plan? How do I extend on, the networking I've already been doing so far? Am I going to connect with some of my tutors or my lecturers in the UK? Will I connect with them? Will I connect with the Chevening alumni network over in Nigeria? What is the Chevening alumni network doing right now in Nigeria? What are they even called? Do they have a name? How will I connect with them? What's the plan exactly? So these are things that, it really tells them that you've thought it through. You've looked at your present networking skills. You've been able to show how that has helped you to work towards your life goals. And then you take it a step further, just maybe something, probably maybe one paragraph somewhere at the end, and you talk about, the Chevening network, how everything that, you're doing so far when it comes to networking, you intend to extend that even as a Chevener, how you would extend it with other Cheveners that will be in your set, how you would, continue to use that network that you're going to get even after you leave the UK, how you intend to use it to continue to achieve your goals in your home country. Then there's this third essay about the choice of course, the choice that you want to, the choice for the course that you want to do. So this is where you now outline, okay, so the prompt is outline why you've selected your chosen 3 university courses, and explain how this relates to your previous academic or professional experience and your plans for the future. Please do not duplicate the information you have entered on the work experience and the education section of this form. So things you need to avoid. You need to avoid having very different or diverse courses. You cannot say you want to do maybe, I don't know, what example am I going to use? Maybe human resource management on one part, and then on the other part, you're saying you want to study AI, and then on the other part, you're saying you want to study biotechnology. And, you have 3 different courses that are so different from each other. And then you're not showing clear reasons for your choice. You're not showing how does this fit to your life goals? How is getting this degree or getting the Chevening scholarship going to help you? And things you should definitely avoid doing is copying and pasting from the school website. They can tell that you just went and you copied and pasted from the school website. Things you should do, definitely choose either the same or very similar courses and do your research when it comes to the universities. Don't just randomly select 3 universities and think they're not going to notice. Some people, when you get to this choice of course, it's like there's no depth, there's nothing. They're just like, oh, my first choice of university is University of Aberdeen, second choice somewhere in London, and they've chosen all these 3 universities from, and there's no clear reason why they've chosen it or clear reason why they've chosen the courses they've chosen. Have clear facts to back up your choices. Be able to say, okay, it's because based on the maybe their ranking, the school ranking, this school ranks so number, and that's why I want, based on maybe the guardian ranking for this year, this is where they ranked, this is why I want to go there. Or maybe because I'm so into sports, and they are the sporting university for excellence, and that's why I want to go there. So use clear facts, not just things that you probably made up, stuff like that. Also, don't just stop at researching the university, do course level and even module level research. Go as far as being able to talk about the course. What is the method? How is the course going to be taught in? How will the assessment be? Will it be just exams? Are you going to do more of research work? Is that why you find it interesting? You could even talk about the lecturer. You could say, oh, because of this particular lecturer, I really like the research is done before. So it just shows that you've done your work. Like when they read the essay, they're like, this person have done their work. They have a reason for selecting. And remember, show how your choice will help you achieve your goals and how it's going to help you make an impact. So you're not just selecting anyhow course. Maybe your life goal is entirely different and your course is very different, and you're not able to link how getting a master's or a Chevening scholarship is going to help you, achieve your goal. They're going to be like, there's no point now. You don't need this scholarship. Like, even without us, you're still going to end up, achieving your goals. So you need to be able to show the correlation. Then career plan. So Chevening is looking for individuals who have a clear post-study career plan. Please outline your immediate plans upon returning home and your longer-term career goals. You may wish to consider how this relates to what the UK government is doing in your country. So there are definitely things you should avoid doing. Avoid having vague plans. Don't just be like, I'm going to be the president of, I don't know, wherever of the country, or having unrealistic goals, or not showing how Chevening and your masters in the UK will help you to achieve your goals, or not having reasons to back up your claims. So you have all these goals and there's no reason behind it. You want to be the president. Why? What's the point? How does it link to all the other essays that you've written, every other thing that you've said? There's no reason, no point to some of the goals or some of the plans that you put up. Things you should do, try to split your goals into, short-term goal. So immediately after your master's was the plan, just some years after that. And then in the long term, what is the next plan? Then try to incorporate what you would have learned and the network you would have made in the UK. So try to imagine that, really after that's your master's here in the UK. Imagine what all of that knowledge, all of that information would mean for you and how that would be incorporated into your plan. Because I've read plans and people were just like, oh, I'm going to do this and do that. And there was no mention of Chevening or the Chevening network or how that is going to help them. So you're basically telling them, I have a plan that doesn't include Chevening. So there's no point. You don't have to, give me the scholarship. Try not to take so much time. So final tips here. One, keep to the word limits. So this is a tip that might be like, oh well, everybody knows that, but it's so important because if you don't get up to the minimum amount of words, your essay is not even going to be read. So there's going to be like no point in having an amazing essay if you don't keep to the word limits, because your essay will be screened out. Be truthful. There's no need for you to lie, just be truthful about the things you've done. Sometimes it's the smallest impacts they're looking out for, something like I was able to grow a community from being 10 people to being like maybe 30, 50 people. As long as you're showing how that growth translates to an impact on your general society. So be truthful. Tell it like a story. Don't just write it like, a boring academic paper. Not that it's always boring, but yeah. Write it, tell it like a story. Tell it like something that when they read, it makes sense. One essay is flowing into the other. When they are reading about your leadership skills and what you've done so far, and they go down and they read about your networking skills, it's like it's all connected. They can see how your life goal is shaping out in all the 4 essays. They can literally see how your future or your career plan is in line with everything you've already written in all the other essays. Because sometimes people write 4 different essays that are so disjointed that it's so difficult for for them to keep track of exactly what your career goal or what your points or the impact you want to make is at the end of the day. So make sure it's impact driven. Remember, it has to be impact driven. Whatever you're writing, always be asking, how is it going to affect the people around me, or how have I affected the people around me or my society at large? I used to talk about using STAR. That's, you talk about the situation, you talk about the task, talk about the action, and then the result. And also try to use SMART, which is, a goal setting, what's the code? Yeah, which is a goal setting matrix. Yeah, that's making sure that your goal is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Then think like you already got the scholarship. When you're making your future plans or whatever, always be thinking like, oh, I already got the scholarship. Avoid plagiarism. Do not in any way plagiarize. Don't go and copy somebody's essay from the internet. They are going to find out. Each essay should be different. Don't do copy and paste. Don't be like, I talked about this in the essay before. You just go and copy that paragraph and put the next essay. No, the 4 essays should be different from each other. In summary, try to focus a lot on impact, how much impact you've made, how much impact you plan to make, and all of that. So impact, and impact. So that's it. Thank you all very much for listening.
Thank you so much for the amazing presentation. So please, Mr. Francis, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can see it.
Okay. So my name is Uche. I'm currently a PhD student, and at Warwick, I was a Commonwealth Shared Scholar 2021 at the University of the West of Scotland for MSc Biotechnology. So today I'm just going to go through how to answer the essay questions and how the scholarship is generally. So the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is a fully funded scholarship between the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission and the UK universities. So it's fully funded. And at the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission's website, the website is user-friendly, it's easy to navigate, and everything about the scholarship is on that website. So I don't just want to waste time, but then the eligibility is you need your certificates, your transcripts, an international passport, and you need to have either a 2-1 or a first class. It's like written clearly on their website. So, and the question I get a lot from students is, can you apply to as many schools as possible? Yes, the answer is yes. When I did my own application, I applied to 8 schools. So, but then you make sure that every school you apply to, you send an equivalent application on the CSC website. So you open up a portal and you can send in as many applications as possible. There are friends I met in the UK who applied to 15 to 20. Like, there's no limitation on the number of courses or number of universities you can apply to. So, and another important thing is, for the universities, when I was applying, I generally apply to universities that don't require application fees, because I know get money and because you have to be strategic. And I applied to schools that didn't need IELTS or the likes of them, TOEFL. So they accepted my WAEC certificate and my proficiency. So that is something to keep in mind, because at the end of the day, applying for the scholarship, you are not certain. Nothing is certain. So that is, and it's a 1-year master's scholarship. So after 1 year, you go back to your country. The only thing that can keep you in the UK after your 1-year master's is if you get a fully funded PhD scholarship. And that is why I am still in the UK. So let's get, is my video show? Whoa. All right. Okay, so let's dive into the essay questions. So the first question normally is, how does your proposed study relate to a global, national, local development issues? So normally how I tackle this question is because I'm talking from my perspective, how I answered my questions. You talk about a global problem, then you localize it. What is the current state of the situation in your vicinity? So as a microbiologist, I focused mainly on antibiotic resistance and host pathogen interactions. So try and give statistics as much as possible, verifiable statistics. So most times when you give a statistic, if you can back it up with an in-test reference, so WHO 2020, blah, 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 then in this particular question, talk about intervention strategies and how your choosing program will help you alleviate this problem. So this is another good point to mention a long-term goal. So because at the end of the day, these essays are interconnected. So it should be connected. Like every answer you give should sing the same song and tell the same story. So it would be good to mention a long-term goal here. So now the next is, how do you intend to apply your new skill and qualification when you return home? So this is a good place to state your big goal. Be realistic. Like they said, you can't say, I want to change Nigeria. Like some of the essays I say, I want to change Nigeria. How can you change Nigeria? Nigeria is a big country. Be realistic. Don't be overambitious with your goals. So let the goal be impactful, but don't be overambitious. Something as simple as, I want to learn, do this master's program to help the research community in my university, blah, 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 teach students new courses. Like it could be a very simple goal. Doesn't need to be so big. Then the next question is, what do you expect will change in development terms following your studies, including the outcomes that you aim to achieve? So now these places, they want to know how well you know the field you are applying for. So what kind of research is currently going on in your field? Could you contribute to this discussion and ongoing research after your award? And then how would your proposed course contribute to that discussion? So I did an MS in biotechnology, and obviously antibiotic resistance is a global issue, top priority for WHO. So a master's in medical biotechnology was going to help me. So you have to link what is currently going on in your field with the proposed course of study, because you have to show why doing this course will help you achieve your goals. And then, this is a very important one. You said how the impact of your work could be measured. So, I mean, they're just talking about evaluation after implementation, basically. So that's why I said, don't be too overambitious with your goals. How can it be evaluated? How can it be measured? What is that? Their matrices, or what is the yardstick? So you have raised the problem and you are trying to convince the scholarship committee of how an MSc in XSS will help you resolve it. So there should be indices for evaluation. So the next question is, provide a short outline of your proposed study-stroke research. This should be written for an audience that does not have prior knowledge of the subject. So here, from my own answer, you ought to write about your proposed course of study, your motivation for selecting this course, what you intend to learn, how this knowledge will help you ease a problem, improve a process, or impact lives on your return. So this is a good place to also state relevant skills and techniques the course will give you, because biotechnology, in my case, I stated I was going to learn things like PCR, DNA extraction, which are skills that are not well developed in my country. So provide a detailed plan of your proposed study The selection panel wants to understand you, why you have selected your proposed courses and universities. So this place is a place to speak about your intended school of choice. In my case, I even visited the school rankings, school ranking, THE. So I put it there, mention university rankings or even departmental ranking with appropriate reference. Then talk more about the program. How does this program align with your long-term ambitions? Try visiting the department website to know the kind. This is very important because imagine saying, okay, in my case, that I'm interested in antibiotic resistance, and the department I am applying to, they do not have specialists in that area. That means I've already shot myself in the leg. The possibility of being nominated for this scholarship by that university is very slim. So try visiting the department or the website to know the kind of research. If possible, you can even mention some faculties that do these things. They will know that you've done your research. Then objectives during the award, talk about how you look forward to your modules, to enjoying the benefit of world-class facilities, how you intend to improve your leadership skills, communication and interpersonal skills, how you intend to learn new cultures and traditions. Remember, like Commonwealth scholars come from all around the world, and then you also have the UK citizens, how you intend to mix up with them, because you are coming to study, you're not always going to be in the classroom. So okay, and this is a very important one: career plans in the 5 years following your award. So don't forget you've already mentioned a career goal in the first essay, so you have to talk about your immediate plan following the award. Would the new degree get you promoted at your workplace, give you more research and teaching experience? Talk about it here. So be as realistic as you can. Okay. Then longer term career plans. This is like if you intend to be a college professor, own your own research lab, join an NGO, go into politics. This is probably the best place to state it, and also give a timeline. Avoid just stating things like, say, in 3 to 4 years, I intend to, become a professor of blah, blah, blah in so and so place and the rest of them. So try to always give a timeline. Then the personal statement. This is very, very important because it is your chance to tell your own story. How has your background shaped the person you are right now? So, and then try to relate your background story to the problem you've highlighted earlier and how it motivates you to study an MSc in a particular field and solve a specific problem. So like I grew up in a community where malaria was a thing. So the issue of getting sick, taking drugs, and the malaria still persisting. So do not fabricate stories. Paint an actual picture that portrays who you are and how it drives your motivation to make a difference. So avoid, fabricating stories just to attract. Then voluntary and leadership experience. This is very, very important for the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. So discuss any scenario where you have displayed leadership attributes. Have you held leadership positions of any kind before? This is the best place to state it. Highlight when you have done a good cause for free without, accepting money for it. Something as little as, like in my essay, I wrote that I volunteered to help distribute tuberculosis drugs to tuberculosis patients during my IT. That was something as simple as that can make a difference, something you did without collecting money for it. And then, like the previous speakers have said, be an achiever, not a doer. Use the STAR approach. What was the situation? What was the task, the action you took? So avoid using we did that. Always use I did that. What was your role in that particular situation? And then what was the result? What was the approach? What was the result after you've done everything? So now, and I think that answers it. That's the last bit of the essay questions. So that my top tips for this scholarship is always choose the same program. In my case, when I applied, I wanted to do an MSc in biotechnology. So all my courses, all the universities I selected were MSc biotechnology. So that way it makes my essay simpler, because I only needed to draft one essay. Then I was changing, universities, and then, where I needed to change maybe lecturer's name or whatever, but like the spine of my essay was the same. And then because it simplifies your work for you. And another thing is avoid plagiarism. Most times people ask me, send me your essay on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp. I don't send my essay, because no matter what you think, people will plagiarize. And this thing, there's a database for these essays. You don't think they'll just throw them away. So they pass through Turnitin links and everything. So tell your own story. Do not plagiarize essays. Yeah, I think that's it from my end. If you stayed to this point, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for the amazing presentation. So, Mr. Stan, please, you can.
Welcome. Yeah, all right. So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
All right. So, quickly, I think we have limited time, and I'm going to take just less than 10 minutes to talk through, because what I'm going to talk about is just applications of in US generally, but I may have to use my university as a case study. So it's not something I will talk much. The only thing I will do is just to share my screen and show you the process of applying for admission and scholarship in my own school where I am currently. I am in Northern Illinois University, currently doing my master's in public administration. So as a matter of fact, the application for universities in the US is generally, it's not like these other scholarships that you apply and they are paying you and all that. The application in the US, the scholarships in the US comes in form of graduate assistantship and tuition waiver. So normally, when you want to apply for any university, you look out for the universities that has tuition waiver and graduate assistantship appointments. Now, if you come to graduate assistantship, we have the all right. So if you come to universities in the US, it comes in form of graduate assistantship and tuition waiver. And in graduate assistantship, we have the graduate teaching assistants, and also we have the graduate research assistant. So mostly the people that handles the position of graduate teaching assistant are people doing PhD, while people that handles graduate research assistant are mostly people doing masters. But there are some cases where you can, even if you are doing masters, you can handle these two, depending on your supervisor, because you'll be assigned to a supervisor who will now give you the work you're supposed to do. So as a graduate assistant, it's like an appointment. You are like an employee of the university. You are paid monthly from the purse of the university. So you are like an employee and also a student So the graduate assistantship helps you in your living expenses, while the tuition waiver takes care of all your school fees, so you don't need to pay school fees. So that is how the scholarship in the US comes. So and the way you get it is two ways. One, you can write a mail to a professor in the US or in the university that you want to apply to. And of course, you should be able to know that you should be able to research and know if you have the same research interest with that lecturer, with that professor. So you don't just wake up and start writing a mail. Otherwise, you end up wasting your time. So you try to look at the professors that have the same research interest with you, and then you write a mail to them. Then secondly, another way is when you apply for admission and get admission, then you apply for scholarship. Like for instance, in my own university, this is how it is done. Most people, at least 70 to 80% of the people that came in here, came in through this way. They applied for admission. After they have gotten the admission, they now applied for scholarship. And in applying for scholarship, for instance, in my university, you apply for scholarship differently, and then you apply for graduate assistantship differently. So what I'm going to do here now is to do a little bit experiment of how it is done. Now, so if you go to the university website, this is the website for NIU, Northern Illinois University. So here you go to admissions. Like I said, you have to apply for admission first. If you get admitted into the university, then you apply for scholarship. You can't have access to the the scholarship website if you don't have admission. Because when you are given admission, the university will not give you an opportunity, will not give you a they will not give you student number, which you will not use to apply for scholarship. So if you go to the graduate schools, because it's more of graduate schools, you will look at the courses that are there for you to apply. These are the graduate programs that they offer. So you go there, go up, check the master's program or the PhD program, whichever one. So whichever one you have seen, these are the programs they offer. These are the programs we offer at master's level. So if you click any of them, you go down and then start the application. Now, for instance, if you want to apply first, just click apply. So when it takes you to that place, you check the program requirements. The program requirements, how to have this is then you go there, start your application. So when you have, this is where you're supposed to start your application. You create your this thing, and then, but I'm not going to waste time much of our time in the application for admission. What I'm going to talk on is on the scholarship, because that is where the cocoa day for people that talks. So the scholarship website is different from the admission website, and this is where you apply for your scholarship. Now, if you click sign in, like I said, if you look at it, you cannot apply for scholarship directly if you don't have admission. So you sign in with your NIU ID. This is what they call NIU ID. So when you are admitted, you'll be given an ID which you can use to apply for scholarship. So when you do it, like for instance, why you are seeing this page now is because I'm already here. But if you are doing it from your end, you cannot come to this page. It cannot take you to this page. So why you are seeing this page is because I am here. And then I have the link, I have the number that took me to this place. So these are their scholarship questions for NIU. So now the first question you have to answer is this. This is your choice. There is a personal statement. is your chance to tell the selection committee. And then look, one thing you have to know is that your personal statement should be different from what you submitted, because during your application for admission, you are going to submit an SOP, and there is a difference between personal statement and SOP. I think we have been talking about that before now. So here you answer 4 questions. Number 1 question they are asking you here is your background. After your background, your current situation. Number 3, why you choose to study this course, that is this field, and then plans for future, which is your career plan, and then other things you can. So you have to within 500 words explain all these things. Now going down, you go here. They say, please briefly describe your financial need. So this short. This is short essay. This short essay is optional, but we give you the chance to talk about any financial hardship you are experiencing, and we allow you to be considered for a need-based scholarship opportunities. So they say it's optional, but don't make it optional, because it is very, very important you state your financial need, because that will now determine whether they will give you either 20 hours or 10 hours. Because in giving you scholarship, in giving you graduate assistantship, you have either 10 hours or 20 hours, depending on your financial need. So the next one is for you to list the activities you have done, maybe your community development services, your volunteering, your work experience, and you have to list up to 10. So which means you have up to 10 spaces, and each of the 10 spaces you have 100 words. So these are the places, these are the things I wrote. I think they are still here, but the previous ones I wrote here, they have taken it away, but these ones are still here. So this is where I repeated up to 10 of my community development services, and I believe my colleagues, they have spoken so much about community development. It's just the same thing. The same thing they told you in Commonwealth, in Chevening, is what you're going to write here. So your community development services are very, very important in applying for graduate studies in abroad. So the next question is for you to list the awards you have received. State the awards you have received, either academic or social award, whichever one. So then you put your date, your day of expected day of year of graduation and all that. Then finally here, and then click yes, and then you submit. So this is how to apply for their scholarship. Then their graduate assistantship this site is different from the site for graduate assistantship. The graduate assistantship site it comes in 2 ways. For instance, it's either your university, your department recommends, because you are applying for graduate assistantship in your department, not even in the university. This particular one is the one you submit to the university, but the graduate assistantship is one you submit in your department. So if there is 2 ways you apply for graduate assistantship. The first one is your department may recommend you for graduate assistantship, which you have to write between 250 to 500 words of why you needed that graduate assistant. So it's another essay altogether. I'm talking of my own, how it happened in my department. Then there are some other departments that will now ask you to go online and download their form. There is a separate form for applying for graduate assistantship. So if you download that line, if you download the form, you'll be able to apply for graduate assistantship. So like for instance, let me get the form for graduate assistantship application. That is not required. That one, you're not required to write an essay. It's just like a form. So this is where you get your form. This is where you click, you get it. So this is the form for applying for graduate assistantship in NIU. Assuming your department did not request you write an essay. So you use this form to apply. But you cannot apply until you get your tuition waiver, because the result for your tuition waiver comes first. So, and then sometimes they join both your application for graduate assistantship and your application for tuition waiver together in taking decision on your application. So, like I said earlier, United States of America is a country that is open to anybody to come in. But however, there are some requirements for you to come. Most courses in the United States requires you to write GRE. So if you go to the course you are looking for, you should be able to find out if you are required to write a GRE or not. So if you are required to write a GRE, then you need to start the application. You start to prepare for the exam. If you're not required to write it, then you are safe. And then another thing is that most universities do not require you to submit. In fact, I would say 95% of universities in the US do not require you to submit English test. Nigeria is exempted from the countries that are supposed to submit English test. So these are the basic thing you should know about US. US applications are one of the easiest applications, but then they are so tactical in the sense that there are some things you need to put in your application. Once you have all the basic requirements, you'll be given admission. The only challenge we have is always the scholarship. So if that one is very, very, very competitive. So I advise you, if you want to apply for US, you don't need to stress yourself much. But US is also is hard, but you don't need to stress yourself much. With the strength or with the applications you have made in your Chevening and your Commonwealth is enough for you to apply and get US admission and scholarship. So with that, I think I've been able to explain a little bit about. So if you have more questions about US scholarship application, you can ask your questions either directly or you send in your question in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stan. So please, we have a few minutes more to entertain questions. In case you have any aspects of the presentation which you didn't get very well, or maybe it's not clear and you would want to ask questions, please do well by raising your hand so you'll be allowed to ask. Okay, we already have 3 persons. So please, Philip, can you go first? Ask your question.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. My question is regarding the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. I wanted to ask, is it specific to a particular European country or is it open to all EU countries? That's my question.
Yeah, so very quickly, your question is in order, and as I explained earlier, Erasmus involves the EU member countries. And of course, again, they also involve partner universities that are called program countries, in quotes. So most of these countries cut across Asia.
Thank you so much. Chibuzo, you can ask your question. Please unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stanley. I have 2 questions basically. One for the one in China, CSC. I want to know if they have PhD scholarships available. And then secondly, and most importantly for you, Stanley, for the US applications, I want to know if your school have a specific period they offer tuition fee waivers, or does it run all through the year?
Okay. Let me answer. Linda will answer the other one you asked. Now, the tuition waiver of my school is done in two sections. They have the first batch and the second batch. The first batch will start on 15th of November. Till you have
For fall application, right?
Yes, for fall application, 15th November to 30th of January 2023. Then the second batch will start from February, 1st of February down to March. So, but it's advised that you submit your application for admission as early as possible. Because if you don't submit your application for admission from now till that time, you may not be considered for tuition waiver. So if you want to get a tuition waiver, it is advised you start now to apply for admission.
So how possible is it to get an application across to your school without paying the application fee?
The school is unfortunately the university have pegged the application fee as a compulsory thing for everybody. So you have to pay application fee. I have tried to look at the pages if it is possible for people to apply for application fee waiver, but for now, NIU have not given that opportunity to people.
So everybody will have to pay the $60.
I think so.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
In answering your first question, you asked if they have PhD opportunity in China. Yes, the CSC has a quarter for PhD. So, but aside from the CSC application, you could also apply for other well-paid scholarship. I think
in China.
Yes, in China. Yeah, we have ANSU scholarship, and also there's school scholarship for PhD, and also there's this road and belt scholarship. There are numerous scholarships.
But the answer now, would it require the applicant to be present, that's currently present in the home country of their, for someone that's not in Nigeria now and do not have access to Abuja or Lagos, can the person still be able to do the document verification and or every other thing concerning it?
Yes, you can. For ANSU runs almost like type B of CSC scholarship. So it's you doing the scholarship application and getting reply from the admission body and the scholarship body directly without any embassy interference. So it's people going for CSC scholarship and heading for the type A that would need embassy in between them and the scholarship. But if you go for ANSU, you don't need, there is no need for embassy application. You can apply from wherever you are all over the world. But because of the present COVID situation and the lockdown, they are taking in students bit by bit. For the application, you can do it anywhere you are, actually anywhere. And you don't need any interference. But the only thing is for ANSU scholarship, only 2 universities are affiliated to ANSU. UCAS and USTC, they are the only 2 universities. So if you're applying for a program that they don't offer, sorry, you can't apply for ANSU.
All right. Is the answer open now? Do you know?
Most ANSU and CSC open almost at the same time. That's towards October. You could check the website. The best way to get information for ANSU is to go to UCAS and USTC website. Check on their admissions and then look for scholarship application. Click on ANSU and you will get all information, everything.
All right. Thank you so much.
We have four other people. Okay. If you have asked question, can you raise down your hand so that we know the number of persons remaining so that we'll be able to know? Okay, we have 3 persons. Okay, let these 3 persons be the last people for the question and answer session. All right.
Okay, Chukwe Meka, you have the answer.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, my question goes to Mr. Stan. I have 3 questions. First and foremost, how can someone, like, you have a clear-cut background in a particular field? Let me say you did finance, national diploma, finance, CSC, and you're trying to divert. Every of your this thing is in finance, and you're trying to divert. Maybe the university you're applying doesn't have that particular course. And you're trying to divert. How are you going to? What are the chances of surviving in that particular field, being admitted, and then given the necessary funding options? That is one. Then, secondly, are there a kind of during applications, applicants are assigned a kind of guiders, people that will guide them towards making some clarifications. That is the second question there.
Yeah.
Then the third one.
What is it? What repeat that your second question?
Okay. No. I said during applications, are there something like guidance from the school that have been assigned to candidates so as to be able to make a clear-cut application, like people that will guide them, or like if I have some clarification, are there people that have been assigned in that respect?
Okay.
Did you get me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now then the third one, I heard that making applications, you need to have your reference, that is your reference, people that are going to your supervisors. Sorry, not supervisors now. Your reference, that is the people that has worked with you before, your doctors and professors. Are you actually going to have a copy of those references with you, or the school will send a link directly to them for them to make a signatory to such documents, or you are going to have a copy of it with you? So that's just my questions. Thank you.
Okay, the first question, I'll start from the third question. References are always sent directly to your reference, to the professors or the lecturers who have provided their email. And most times they will always request that you provide an institution email. So you don't just provide gmail.com, yahoo.com, or hotmail.com, all those things. So you provide an institution email for them. So that is how most of the universities here in the US do it. They don't always require that you hold the reference letter at hand. So you provide the email, and then once you submit the application, they will receive the email. When they send it, you will know that they have sent it. You will receive a mail that your reference has been submitted. Then the second one, which is their guidance, of course, definitely whenever you're applying, you always look at the graduate school website, and then you will see you can either send a mail. There are 2 people you can send a mail to: the international office and the graduate office. So these are the 2 people that guides international applicants when they are applying for admissions. Then your next question diverts to, you can apply if you, let me give illustration. If you have a particular background in accounting, and you want to probably go for economics, know that these 2 courses they are under one faculty or one school, as the case may be. So what you need to do is to check if that program you want to do is under the same faculty. Once it is under the same faculty, you don't have any problem. It mustn't be that you studied accounting, then you must go for accounting no, you can do other things. You can do another program, but it has to be kind of related. It has to be under the same faculty. Now, another thing is this: if you want to divert, if you want to go to another program altogether that is not within your area of study at your undergraduate, you can do that, but you'll be able to explain, you should be able to convince them in your SOP that you can do this program. Yeah, I have an example of someone who is currently doing, I think, arts, but the person actually studied management, but he's in arts. I think this fashion and design of that's where the person, I met him already. So, but it was in his SOP that he was able to explain all this. But unfortunately, the guy doesn't have funding, but he has a tuition waiver. Because you can have a tuition waiver without having funding. These are two things. But then if you come with tuition waiver, your case is reduced because there are what we call on-campus jobs that you can find here that will take care of your living expenses. So you can actually apply to other courses if you are able to convince them in your SOP that you can do that course. Most times, US, they even prefer, they prefer diversity. One of the things US preaches is inclusion and diversity. So if you can divert to other courses, but you should be able to convince them that you can do that.
Thank you very much.
Let me also add because in terms of diversity and transition, in case you want to really transit to a course or a new program that captures your position at the moment, you can also consider Erasmus programs, because at the moment we have 170 Erasmus programs. Some of them are newly added and they cut across all disciplines. And the beautiful thing about Erasmus is it doesn't have this generic approach to learning where you have, oh, this is a course in marketing, this is a course in accounting, in medicine or something. No, it's always a mixture of topics. You have 2 or 3 topics on the subject type, and then people from diverse backgrounds are able to apply. So you can also do a little research about some of these programs in Erasmus, and then I hope you get some leading from there.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm really glad. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jude, you can ask your question.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this question is actually directed to Chidebe, though he did a great work trying to elaborate and elucidate on most of the processes involved. But I just need clarification and maybe on these questions. I think I have 4 of them. The first one is he talked about the application for the scholarship. That means you can apply at different schools. He said he applied for about 15 or thereabout. Can't remember. So when applying for this scholarship at different schools, your essays, are you going to like tailor your essays differently as you apply for these different schools, or would you just write down one essay and then do the copy paste? Do you have to generate original content for these different scholarships for these different schools as you apply to them? And the second question is, are publications really necessary for master's scholarships? Because I was going through the website, trying to go through the application process, and so I needed to impute publications and DOIs and all. I don't have those things. So are those things actually necessary? Can can it be overlooked that standing of articles, published articles and all? And the next question I have is what are the chances of getting a PhD scholarship immediately after the master's scholarship? Yeah, those are my questions.
Thank you. I don't think Mr. Francis is online, so I will try to answer your question. So for the essay, you asked if you could write one essay and then try to modify them. He mentioned it during his presentation he said that what he did was he applied for similar courses. So it was easy for him to modify. So you just change the name of the professor, the name of the institution, maybe some of the things particular to that university, but not all the essay in total, in as much as the course aligns or maybe the focus of the course is similar. So that was what he said. He said for all the scholarships he applied for, he didn't write different essays. He just did some modifications. For MSc, you're asking if publication is important. Based on my experience with helping my mentees, for MSc, you can be pardoned if you don't have publication. But if you're applying for PhD and you don't have a publication, the tendency of you getting a professor who would want to listen to you is divided by 2. For MSc, it's okay to continue your application without publication. That was the reason why I emphasized on keeping and having certificates. You asked, what's the tendency of one getting a PhD scholarship after MSc? It depends on what you finished with after your MSc. If you study in the UK and you finish with first class, it's very easy, like very easy to get a PhD. But if you don't finish well, you wouldn't, because some persons get abroad and then they are carried away and then they move to business and trying to get money and forget the academic they came for. So it tells in the result, and that also affects the tendency of getting a PhD. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so let me quickly answer. There is a question there. I need to just say it online from Mashek. Yeah, is it Mishak? Yeah. So Mishak, your question, you said, is there a possibility of getting funding or scholarship for a coursework MSc programming? Of course. What I'm doing is this MSc, so and I have full funding. So it's possible, it's 100% possible, depending on your your background. You know, I used the strength. You know, in those days I was pursuing Chevening and Commonwealth. So I used that kind of strength that I used to pursue Chevening and Scholar and this thing, Erasmus and Commonwealth, and pursued this one. And it was just once I submitted the application and I got the funding and the scholarship. I didn't do it 2 times, so you can get it. Then the other person said teaching assistant. If you apply for, is it possible for you to get GA position without having teaching experience? No, you mustn't have teaching experience for you to get a GA position. GA position is about how you were able to convince them during interview. Like for instance, you are able to convince them during interview that you can actually do research or that you can teach, because there are stages. For instance, you submit your application, write your SOPs and submit. If you're selected, they call you for interview, virtual interview like this. So it is at that interview that they will determine whether they will offer you the GA position or not. So you mustn't have the teaching experience, but if you have a strong background of all the things that all scholars here have mentioned, you will be able to get it. That's it.
Thank you so much for this presentation. To all speakers, who want to say a big thank you to all of you, and for the participants who had stayed to this hour, we want to say thank you also. And most importantly is, in your application process, please know your God and at the same time pray, so he leads you, okay? Because you are in a competition, whether you like it or not, with a lot of people. The same way you are getting this information is the same way other persons all over the world get information. You all are applying for, if not same scholarship. So I have seen people apply for 12 scholarships and get the 12. I have seen people apply for 7 and get the 7. So in all, please never get discouraged. Keep moving, keep applying, and someday day you will get big offers and that's of your dreams. Thank you.
And then in addition to that, I would want to tell us that this program is recorded. So we are going to have the link because there are some, like Mwachukwu Oluchi is requesting a recap. I have told her that the program is recorded. We are going to have the link posted so you can actually watch it over and over. You can even download it in your phone and keep it, because those screens, those things we did online, we showed our screens and all that. We need those points, because we may not have all the time to start sending you privately, but if we give you the video, you'll be able to get all those information. Then one more thing, which is very important here, please visit our YouTube channels and try to subscribe. That's the only thing we ask of you. What this program we are doing is not that we owe you people any obligation or any responsibility to give you this program, but then we are doing it as part of our community development services. And we are, one of the reasons we are doing this is for you people to, when you get to this level, you'll be able to train others. So the only thing we ask of you, we don't ask you to pay money, we don't ask you to pay anything. Go to our YouTube channel. I have my YouTube channel at Pep Tutorials Academy. So just go there, subscribe. I post this video there. Also visit the YouTube channel of MC Linda. Just go there, type MC Linda, you see our YouTube channel, subscribe there. And from time to time, we'll be posting our videos and other things. That's the only thing we ask of you to do for us as a way of appreciating what we are doing for you. So thank you all for your participation in this webinar. Any other question, you can send it directly to our social media platforms where you got this link to join this program. We'll be able to answer them. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you all. This is the end of the webinar. Thank you.